Welcome to Red-tastic. Story 1. Am I the a-hole for not letting my brother move in and starting a family fight? Obligatory throwaway account and apologies for mobile formatting. I, 26 female, have a brother, 31 male, Kevin. Kevin was the golden child of the family. My parents gave him every opportunity to succeed in life. Money, sports camp, cars, etc. I, however, was left to my own devices and always secretly thought my parents didn't like having me around, which was confirmed about a year ago when my aunt, mom's sister, got drunk and confessed my dad was disappointed I wasn't another boy, and they actually tried to pawn me off on other family members after I was born. This was apparently a big family secret I wasn't supposed to know. More on that later. Despite this, Kevin and I always had a good relationship. He's really smart and fun to be around. But his major flaw is that he's very lazy. He is constantly between jobs and never really puts in any effort. I once tried to get him a job at my company and he did great at first, until he stopped showing up. When I brought it up to my parents, they just shrug it off and say, he hasn't found himself yet. He started his own contracting company and was doing okay for a while, but once again is out of money because he only takes jobs when he wants to and overspends. He currently lives with his BFF and his BFF's girlfriend, but now they want him to move out because she's pregnant and they need the extra room. Meanwhile, I've been busting my ass and recently got a job promotion and bought my first home. My mom heard about Kevin's situation and called me up the other day to ask. It was more like a command to take Kevin in. I told her no, I have barely had time to myself in my new place. Plus I work a ton, and to be honest, I really don't trust Kevin to keep up his end of the housework or pay his fair share. My mom got angry about this. Note, I've distanced myself a bit since the conversation with my aunt. They never checked on me and didn't even congratulate me on my job or house. She just went right into demanding I let my brother move in. After she told me I was ungrateful and a bad sister, I lost it. I have always supported Kevin and tried to help him. I basically blew up and told her I resent being the unwanted child they only talk to when they need me to help Kevin. This started a huge fight in our family. My mom is pissed at my aunt, who is on my side. Other family members have been blowing up my phone yelling at me for making my mom upset. And Kevin is mad because he thinks I resent him, which is what I'm sure my mom said. I don't resent him. I do think he needs to grow up. I've blocked most of the family except Kevin, who is ghosting me right now, and my aunt. Everyone thinks I'm a huge a-hole for starting World War III in my family. And Kevin thinks I'm jealous and selfish, since I won't let him move in. Reddit, am I the a-hole? You're not the a-hole, OP. Your parents and brother are the a-holes here. Your mother just can't expect you to take your older brother in because she demanded it. That's absurd. The fact that they treat you like a second-class citizen in the family is hurtful and should have been addressed a long time ago. I can't believe your family members are blaming everything on you when your parents are the problem here. You can't give birth to a child and then treat another one better all their life and expect them not to resent you. Your parents suck, OP. Cut them off. As for your older brother, cut him off too if he keeps behaving like a spoiled brat with no brain of his own. Now for some comments. 100% not the a-hole. Kevin needs a reality check. Your parents are bad parents, and fixing their problems is not your responsibility. Your extended family blames you because now they have to deal with fallout, when they were audience members for years beforehand. If Kevin is willing to reopen communications with you and really hear your end of things, then all is not lost. My best to you. So not the a-hole. You didn't start World War III. Your parents started it the moment they decided not to love and accept you the way they did for your brother. I can't wrap my head around excusing abuse, neglect, and general assholery. But the moment the victim stands up for themselves, they are the problem. What? I'm so sorry for the way you've grown up. None of this is your fault. And you should be proud of yourself for having strong boundaries and a sense of self in spite of the cards dealt to you. Don't let anyone manipulate you. Kevin will come around in time. He's just maturing slower because he was spoiled. While you had to grow up fast, cut off contact with your parents and any other family member who thinks you're the a-hole. Go to therapy if you can. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for posting a picture of my vegan sister in leather boots? My sister has a large-ish Instagram following, like 10k followers. And her IG mostly talks about veganism, cruelty-free recipes, fashion, stuff like that. I have a little fashion page. It is something I do for fun. We both live with our grandmother. She's 22 and I'm 19. My grandmother collects clothes. We have been going through her collection for a couple of hours a day and finding some really cool vintage stuff from the 50s to 80s. Everything is in pristine condition. My sister and I have both asked to have a lot of stuff. My sister is smaller than me, so had an easier time fitting into all of the cool bohemian stuff from the late 1960s. Grandma was in her mid-20s. A lot of the things in my size were 80s jumpsuits, not my thing. I found several pairs of very cool shoes, the most iconic of them all being a pair of white patent leather go-go boots with beautiful beading down the side and some suede thigh highs with a little fringe. I found them first. I knew I could make a killing online selling them, so I rushed to ask my grandmother if I could have them. She initially said yes, but when my sister saw them, she begged to try them on. Of course they fit her. They didn't fit me. She begged my grandmother to let her have them, and she said that she would think about it. My sister asked me what I was going to do with them, and I told her that I was going to sell them. I could get between $800 to $1,000 for them. She shamed me for trying to sell grandma stuff. She said that she would actually wear them and take care of them, so she deserved them. I disagreed. I also pointed out that she was vegan. Why would she want leather shoes anyway? She said that used stuff and heirlooms don't count. She went off to talk to my grandmother by herself that night. My grandmother ended up giving the shoes to her. My sister got all excited and was trying the shoes on with a bunch of different outfits. I asked her if I could take a picture of some of the outfits. She let me. I posted them to my IG, tagged her in the pictures and mentioned everything she was wearing, including the leather boots. My post happened to get a lot of engagement from her followers, and a lot of them were mad. She ended up losing like 300 followers and it became kind of a scandal. She got mad at me and accused me of trying to sabotage her for captioning the picture the way I did, and being jealous that she got the shoes. She told me to take the picture down. I did. She said that I could cost her or lose sponsors and money. I pointed out the money she cost me by sucking up for those shoes that I found first. She hasn't lost any more followers and has been doing damage control, but she's still angry at me. I think she's a hypocrite for wearing the shoes in the first place, and I asked her before taking the pictures. But I feel bad about how stressed out she's feeling and the crazy backlash that she's receiving. So am I the a-hole for posting them? Update. My sister is selling some of her own clothes to make room in a wardrobe for the things she asked my grandmother for. I have seen some of my sister's clothes and shoes on Poshmark. A lot of people are trying to shame me for wanting to profit, but she is profiting too. You're the a-hole, OP. What you did was borderline malicious. How could you do this to your sister? She's your family. Sabotaging her career and reputation over something as trivial as your grandmother's leather boots. Boots that fit her but don't fit you is beyond petty. Your actions were cruel, and it's shocking that you even came here questioning whether you're in the wrong. Selling those boots for a few bucks is nowhere near worth the harm you caused your sister. I hope she learns a lesson and becomes cautious around you, because frankly, if I were her, I wouldn't trust you at all. Now for some comments. You're the a-hole. Hang on, you tried to sell family heirlooms that your sister wanted to keep, and when you didn't get your way, you decided to hatch a plan to ruin her name and get her bullied. and harassed online even though she's technically right, and wearing or keeping the boots isn't contributing to the animal product industry because they're vintage hand-me-downs from a family member, yeah, you're a massive a-hole. With a sister like you, who needs enemies? You just pulled a move like some sociopathic, mean girl character in a movie. You're the a-hole. You're acting like a jealous brat. You're just mad that you got the shoes and you didn't. If I were your grandma, I would want my precious things to go to the granddaughter that appreciates them, not the one trying to sell them. Can we just talk about how much of an a-hole you have to be to sell your grandma's things? I wouldn't dream of selling my grandma's vintage gifts. My grandpa-in-law offered me an expensive fur coat that belonged to his late wife back in the day that would have sold for a lot, but said no because I wouldn't wear it and it's wrong to sell someone else's belongings. If your grandmother wanted it sold, she would have sold it herself. Story 3. Am I the a-hole for reprimanding an unprofessional employee? I'm the CTO of a small startup with about 30 people. We've been hurting badly since the pandemic started, but we've been holding on. Our delicate balance is now threatened by Kyle, an employee who I believe has been acting increasingly unprofessionally for months. This all started back last summer when Kyle's team lead left the company for one of the big 4 tech companies. Kyle assumed that he would get the position because he was the most senior person on the team by over a year. The problem is that our investors had a good relationship with the previous team lead because she was a member of several prominent women's groups in my country. We didn't want to lose that with our funders, so we hired Tasha to fill in as new team lead. Kyle did not take this well, whereas before Kyle was always very positive and helpful to other people, he suddenly became very withdrawn and only focused on getting his work done. We think he doesn't like reporting to women, but we don't have any proof. It doesn't help that Tasha hasn't quite worked out either. She does well with the investors, but the team's overall productivity has dropped in half even before Corona, and she asks for my help quite a bit more than I'd like. I have asked Kyle repeatedly to set aside some time to train and mentor Tasha, and he has refused. At one point, he even demanded higher pay in exchange for training her. We didn't think it was worth it, so the situation stagnated. Things came to a head today during a meeting with our investors over Zoom. Tasha presented a new feature that Kyle worked on and may have claimed some personal credit for things he did. After the meeting, Kyle pinged me and aggressively asked me why Tasha was taking credit for his work. I explained to him that he was being petty and that everything is a team effort. He then insisted that I correct the record to the CEO that he had been the lead on the feature, not Tasha. I don't take too well to demands, so I denoted him on the spot, mainly a pay cut, and told him I would reinstate him when he learns how to be a team player. He then told me that he was going to take PTO next week to consider his options. I asked him not to since we have an important deadline next week, and he told me to have Tasha prioritize it. I haven't heard from him since, but I'm assuming he's going to blow off work tomorrow. Am I being unreasonable here? Or am I right that his refusal to help his colleagues and insistence on taking credit is super unprofessional? Now for some comments. You're the a-hole. You put Tasha in charge because she would maintain the inn with your funders, not because of her skills or accomplishments. Clearly she isn't right for the position as she asks for help and productivity has slowed. Think if you were Kyle, you put in hard work and were probably next in line to head up the team. Then someone with a lower skill set is put in charge based on her perceived value as to keep funding coming in. Then she takes credit for your work. He clearly feels slighted and you're not showing any empathy. Yes, he probably should have expressed his concerns in a more appropriate manner and found another way to express his resentment. You're the a-hole. I'm a woman. Hiring a woman as a token, which is what you did with Tasha, is unfair and inappropriate. Plot twist. Women are people, not statistics. So hire the best person for the job. You didn't do that, and in doing so, you created an untenable situation for Tasha and alienated Kyle. Kyle is right to be upset, as it sounds like he was the better candidate. You're adding insult to injury by requesting he train her. He's also fully within his right to demand his due credit for the work he did. And shame on Tasha for taking it, shame on you for allowing it, and pushing Kyle for defending himself.